Okay, so we're going to start off by going through the 4 different booth grids based on Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. So to start with, I have Tier 1 virtual booth grid on my screen. For Tier 1, at the beginning here, you can see that you'll have a booth overview, your booth features, your booth assets, and then your booth rep dashboard. And there's a PDF linked here where you can download onto your desktop to see what your rep dashboard has the ability to do. I will go through a rep dashboard here shortly though, but you will always have a PDF to refer to as well. So getting into Tier 1's first page, what this is going to show you is that you have the ability to, up in the top left corner, have booth navigation. The booth navigation is going to allow attendees to move from booth to booth in between each other versus having to go back out into the exhibit hall to try to find another booth. You can actually have navigation in the top left corner. This is standard in all of our events where you have a next and a previous and ability to get back to the main exhibit floor if you need to. The second thing is your booth name. So that is usually your company's name. Again, that would go up in the top left corner. And then you have your booth logo. The booth logo is something that you would be sharing with us when I get down below into the grid, where you would provide us your logo based on the specifications that we provide. That logo would sit inside your booth. Depending on the template that you choose is where the location of that logo would sit. The kiosk, and I'm going to enlarge my screen slightly. The kiosk is what we call the location of content. So as you can see here, there are 4 different items on this information kiosk. There's an about us, literature, web links, and videos. There are up to 4 lines of text that can be accommodated, and each line item can have one click state where it either opens a video, a URL link, a PDF, or an actual content window. So let's back up for a second. When I say that one of the items in the kiosk can open directly into a video, or an external URL, or a PDF, those again are items that when an attendee comes in and clicks on one of the items in your information kiosk, it's going to open in an iframe directly a video, a URL, or a PDF. Now, if you have multiple pieces of content for literature, web links, or videos, it's going to open what we call a content window. And a content window is going to have more than one item in that window. So for literature, you can have multiple pieces of content in that content window that relate to literature on your company. Those are normally PDFs, and there is no limit on size of that PDF. Web links, if you have a content window on the web link location in your kiosk, this again means you have multiple web links, external URLs for your company, that when an attendee clicks on web links, it's going to open a listing of all those items. Videos. Again, if you have a content window on this video item in your kiosk, when an attendee clicks on it, it's going to have multiple videos listed out that you have provided us that an attendee can click on and open each of those videos. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Booth rep image. Now, a booth rep image is the image that stands behind the desk in your booth. The avatars in your booth grid, which we'll go through here in a second, are available for you to choose one of the booth rep images. Booth rep chat. I'm going to record a separate demo on the different booth rep chats, but there is a click state in your booth that's going to allow people to click and engage with you as a booth rep. You can see that in my top left corner, an attendee can click to chat with a rep, and then I will show you where you will see that engagement request from an attendee. Social media options. I'll go ahead and minimize my screen slightly. Social media options is available up in the top, again, top left corner of your booth, and in that you can have YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. You can have all of them, or you could choose just the ones that your company uses most. Again, those would be your company's social media links that you would provide us, and we would drop them into your booth so attendees could, in fact, open up your social media. Calls to action, or CTAs. A CTA is a location in your booth where you can have a call to action, and an example would be take our survey, prize giveaway. Those two items are on the lollipop stands in this example here under letter I. Again, those would be any kind of call to action. We customize those lollipop stands or calls to action based on the color branding of your company that you provide us in this grid. Outside of that, the other customizable item in your booth, along with all the other items that I mentioned here, are the colors that you see in red here would actually in fact match your primary color of your company. And then the last thing that's part of this tier 1 booth grid are your monitors or your screens. Again, they're optional. You get 3 with the tier 1 large monitor screen and 2 small screens. And inside those screens, again, just as I had mentioned in the kiosk, these screens can have a video open up, an external URL, a PDF, or a content window with multiple URLs, videos, or PDFs. So these screens can in fact do the same thing that your kiosk does. It's just more of a direct action and usually has a screen grab on top of that. So let's go ahead and get into the grid here. So moving into the different features of your grid, I'm going to again record a separate video for what the chat options are in your booth, the rep dashboard option, and the leaderboard option. So I'm going to skip over this for now. This is an example here as I'm scrolling down of what a content window looks like. Again, you can see multiple items listed in this content window, and each of these items will have a call to action where an attendee can click to open, click to download, or click to view your external URL. Getting into this next page, you can see that we have 9 booth templates that we've given you an option to choose from. All you will need to do is look through these, choose the one that you like the most, and then in the grid you can let us know what number. You do not need to worry about the background or the flooring options. That will be consistent across the whole event. We've added an additional item here for all the tiers, and this is going to give you the ability to host a meeting inside your booth. So if you're in fact interested in having a Zoom, a GoToMeeting, a Microsoft Teams, or a WebEx that your company has a license for, we will in fact support those links inside your booth. So here you would want to give us the name of what you would like to call the meeting, the date and time of which you would like to host that meeting, what type of meeting it is, a Zoom, a GoToMeeting, a Microsoft Teams, or a WebEx, and then provide us the URL for one of those 4 that you're choosing to use. We will drop it into a call to action based on the meeting name that you give us and the date and time that you're going to be available to host that. Getting down into the actual grid, you'll see that there's different boxes here where you can drop in your information, all your company contact information and URL, your booth name, any keywords where attendees, when they come in, would like to search for you. Most of the time it would be, again, the name of your company, any subsidiaries, and any specific products that you have within your company. For tier 1, for booth representatives, this is again live representatives from your company that would be inside the booth during the live expo. For tier 1, you have up to 2 booth representatives. We would need their representative name and their representative's email address. When we get this information, we will add it into the booth so that when those people join into the environment via the same way an attendee would join, the system will recognize you inside your booth that you are a booth representative, and you will be able to see your rep dashboard. Getting down into number 5, if you do not have any representatives that are available live during the live expo, you can provide us an email, and anybody that is interested in chatting with you, you would instead, or that representative would instead receive an email of interest from that attendee. I'm going to move over number 6 again. I'm going to get deeper into the booth chat and what each of those things are able to do. Here's the location for adding your website logo or your booth logo. It gives you the specifications here. And then your company's primary color and secondary color. We would prefer to have both, but we mandatory do need that primary color so that we can add that color into your booth. If you have a secondary color, we will accent your booth with that secondary color in different ways for you. Coming down here, I mentioned that you can have social media. This is where you would provide us the links to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, and any other social media you might have. The menu kiosk, if you do want to change the names that we default to, the About Us, Literature, Web Links, and Videos, you can give us an alternative text. Otherwise, we will default to the words that normally fill our information kiosks. Here's your About Us. Again, in the information kiosk, there's an About Us. So here's the information that you would give us so that we could populate that within your booth. The text description for your company is up to 2,000 characters. Literature. In the information kiosk, I mentioned you could have it open a single PDF, a URL, or a video, or you can provide us up to 20 pieces of content for literature. So we have given you 20 spots here to drop in the name of your literature, the title, the description up to 500 characters, and a file name, so that when you are dropping in that content for us to start building your booth, we know what to refer to pull those PDFs for literature. Web links. Again, you can have your web links open into one URL, or you can have up to 20 URLs populate the web links. Again, we have web link title, description, and your actual link so that we can build out that web link content window. There are specifications here for 80 characters for the title, 500 characters for the description. Videos. That's the 4th item in your information kiosk. Again, can link directly to a video presentation or webinar. You can give us a YouTube, Vimeo, or Ustream. Video in MP4 format if you go with an actual straight MP4 video. Or you can have it open up a content window with up to 20 videos, and we've provided you 20 spots here to drop in the title, description, and file name of the MP4, YouTube, Vimeo, or Ustream file. Here's a page with all the avatars. So you would pick the number up here that you would want for your still image that stands behind the desk of your booth. And then getting into those 3 screens that I mentioned. Again, you have a large screen and 2 small screens. So this is the part of the grid that gives you ability to customize those 3 screens with videos, PDFs, or external URLs. We also give you ability to have multiple items in those. So here's where you'll find the content window for up to 5 PDFs. Here's the part for the small screen number 2. So same as small screen number 1 and large screen number 1. This is the area where you'll fill out to let us know what you want in screen number 2. Here's our large screen piece of the grid. Calls to action for your level 1. You have, let's see, up to 2 calls to action, 2 lollipop stands. So you have CTA1 and CTA2. Again, what would you like to call them? What do you want it to link to or open up? You have up to 15 character max of what you want to put on that call to action. And then again, you can have a URL or a PDF on top of that lollipop stand.